Esther and had just explained to Aunt Brandy that her brother had left her an extremely large sum of money, and the two of them were excited about finding a larger apartment to live in. So they called Esther's uncle, Uncle Hung, who suggested they contact cousin Jan, who sold real estate. At any rate, everything was moving smoothly like clockwork, and Mr. Jan showed up within a matter of minutes. Showed him, took him out to an apartment complex, and showed him a beautiful apartment. Had high-end appliances in it. Esther was excited about that. Her aunt fell in love with the master bedroom. It had a walk-in closet that most women would die for. And when Esther spoke in Chinese to Bo Chen, the realtor, he was pleased that his uncle had not been wrong, that Esther was family, she was Chinese, and so he explained to them that they could actually move in today. And so Mr. Chen, he rounded up all of his family to help move Aunt Brandy and Esther into the new apartment. And Esther and Brandy, they took off to do some more shopping. Esther giggled that they now had a debit card provided by Marco Polo at Polos for Women, and they should probably start there. So the two of them took off for that. They did quite a bit of shopping there. And Esther was puzzled the day before. They had been approached by a salesperson, a young Muslim lady. Her name was Bushra. She wore the traditional hijab, headscarf, and was very attractive. And she asked where she was, and one of the other sales people told her that she hadn't shown up today, which was very unusual for Bushra, but nonetheless she didn't show up. And so this concerned Esther. Esther, most of her life, had developed a sixth sense in a way where she felt issues were about to happen, or problems were being dealt with improperly. And so, at any rate, Esther decided she'd better investigate this. She asked her Aunt Brandy if she minded if they did some shopping for a motorcycle. And Esther had already talked to her uncle previously about buying a motorcycle because most of Esther's life was either in military vehicles or motorcycles of one type or another. And so, and Brandy, of course, said she didn't mind at all. She kind of picked up on the fact that Esther had something on her mind and wanted to deal with it. And so they drove across town to Mr. Jan Cycle Shop, and Esther had phoned ahead, and Mr. Jan was in the back room. Esther had walked in with her Aunt Brandy and glancing around the showroom when Mr. Jan came out. Esther quickly went up to him, introduced herself, and told him that her Uncle Hung had said that Mr. Jan would offer her a great deal on a motorcycle. And Mr. Jan said, well, he too had talked to his uncle, and that of course he would. Esther was family. Excuse me. So Esther said, how about the Kawasaki 650R in the showroom? That looks like a nice bike. And he said, you have a good eye, because it is. It has very low mileage on it. It's in like new condition. And I can sell that to you at a very good price. As a matter of fact, if you keep the mileage low and bring it back to me under 500 miles of usage, I'll buy it back for the same amount. And Esther said, then that would be great. I believe, for something very important. So if we could hurry up a title transfer. And Mr. Jan said that he could get her out in 6 minutes if she had cash and special ID and insurance card, all of which she did have. Mr. Jan ran her debit card, which went through very quickly, and he also looked and recorded her insurance card, which was a Chinese company, and he said to Esther, you need to probably find an American insurance company as soon as possible, because if she were to be pulled over by a policeman, he might be a little confused to see her insurance card from China. And so he completed the paperwork, handed it to Esther, and suggested that on the way out she pick up a jacket and helmet, and she could pay for him the next time she was in the store. Esther said, excellent, I will do that. So Esther quickly grabbed a very nice leather jacket and a full face helmet, and she also grabbed a backpack, and then she told her Aunt Brandy that she'd meet her at home in a little while. So Esther jumped on the bike, turned the key, and Mr. Jan had opened a door for her, and she sped off. She drove quickly, but under the speed limit, because she didn't want to be pulled over and delayed. And she drove straight to Bushra's home. She had found the address for Bushra from Mr. Polo, she had called on the way to Jan's cycle shop. And Mr. Polo said that he didn't normally give out employee addresses, but since she was concerned about her and that Bushra wasn't feeling well, that she'd probably appreciate a friend dropping by. And so Esther had Bushra's address, and she was on the way to see what actually was going on with Bushra. She pulled up to the house, and it was concrete driveway with a tall hedge along the side. And as she parked and took her helmet off, 3 young men about her age came around the hedge and approached her. Esther didn't need this. She didn't want any conflict, and they looked like they were going to create a little problem. So she had to deal with this before going in up to Bushra's porch and seeing what happened. She had also noticed that the curtains, somebody had peeked out when she approached. So first, Esther had to deal with these young men.